Hello everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in this video I'm going to be talking about the old school Warlord treasure spawn they kind of brought back. This is a throwback treasure spawn, and let me tell you, this spawn is very awesome. So let me actually get into the spawn and why it's awesome. Okay, so the thing that sucks compared to the previous one they've been doing is this is only going to be first time half off. So the whole spawn will not be 15 gems, but after this that you're going to be doing is going to be 30 gems straightforward, and there will be no double chances. No double chances whatsoever. So throughout the whole spawn you're only getting one chest. So that's the sucky part about it, is it's going to cost more than it has before. But with the spawn, this is a really free to play friendly spawn. It really is. This spawn is very helpful, and let me get to why it's free to play friendly and everything surrounding it. Okay, so you can only do this 12 times only if you're unaware. It says it right there if you just missed it. It's the 12 times only spawn right there again. 12 times only, so keep that in mind when you're doing this. I'm not sure if they have any of the gear in here, but if they do, it's going to be hard to even obtain in the first place. There is no guaranteed list or anything of the sort. So getting SSRs just through the gear spawn itself is going to be a pain in the butt. It's going to be extremely hard, and it's going to be extremely difficult to get. But with what they have to offer, totally worth it. Because with each chest, each treasure box, you're getting something very awesome. Except for maybe a few of them. So let's actually get into this. Okay, so one of the treasure boxes will contain one of the Warlord from the Warlord series. These are great for elemental orientated things, especially if your element is locked and you need field buffs and stuff like that. Very helpful, because field buffs really do the trick, especially in player versus enemy. Nothing any enemy can do about a field buff. The field buff is just there, and they have to deal with it. There is no monsters in the game that can remove field buffs. So field buffs are for sure a handy deal to actually have, and a handy tool to use, and everything surrounding it. All these monsters right here are orientated around one element for an elemental field buff, and you got all of them in here. You got wind, you got dark, you got water, you got lights, you got fire, you got time, and you got star. You got all these elemental field buffs for all these monsters in here, and you're guaranteed one of them within one of the chests. And to make it even better, sure, it may not be good as Prometheus or some of the other monsters that could apply the elemental field buff, but with these monsters, right? These monsters, I think besides, I'm not sure about Misadari or Liatsu, but the other ones down here give 2 elements for their elemental. So if you get them to actually the 4th awakening, they give 2 elemental instead of 1. So they're going to give even more elemental than almost all the monsters in the game. So that right there is very helpful on top of that. So that right there is pretty much that, and surrounding that and what I gotta say about that. Very helpful, whether you're free to play or pay to win. Unless you already have the max awaken and you already got, like, perhaps say you already got like the elemental field buffs for like the 37 cost and stuff like that. It's not all too worrisome, but it doesn't matter if you're free to play or pay to win. Having that extra elemental with these types of monsters can come in here very handy. And sure, some of these monsters may not have the best abilities and skills, but some of these monsters do have helpful ability and skills to help you press forward with your quests. So with that being said, let's actually get to the next treasure box. The next treasure box will contain one of the Warlord series weapons. These come in great handy. Sure, these are outdated cost-wise, so they're not, even at max infusion, they're not going to give up as much as, like, perhaps say a 36 cost with just 1 infusion, or maybe even 0 infusions. That's how much they're not going to give off. So they're definitely behind stat wise, but if you only have one of these, it's not going to hurt much. And plus, they have a skill called Art of Attack. There's another one called Art of Vitality. A 35 cost set weapon set has it. It works around critical rate and Unison Gauge instead of just AP ability power buffing. And it's not cost, but it's used. They're both Unison Gauge gains. One works on critical rate. The 35 one works on critical rate. The 33 one that I will be talking about right here works on ability power instead. These Art of Attacks are very helpful, whether you're doing guild battles or whether you're doing Coliseum and duel rooms. Even during player versus enemy. Not as useful in player versus enemy, because usually Unison isn't going to be something you need to get right away. I mean, you will need it right away, but it's not like urgent compared to like player versus player. because especially when you're rocking a treasure hunter, for either one, or you're trying to rock like a defensive work with Unison. If you're trying to work on something that helps build Unison quickly, these art ofs for sure come in handy, all hands down. And they don't have bad proc rate either, so they do have a decent chance to proc rate, and each time they proc rate they give you 3 Unison. Plus if you got Unison Gauge gains, they're going to give even more than 3 Unison. They're going to give what the Unison Gauge gains give plus what they originally give, so it's going to really help with Unison. Plus if you're attacking, you're also getting that for your Unison Gauge gains. It is just a lot of Unison. It's an extreme amount of Unison that you're actually going to be getting with these art ofs. So yes, they may be a bit behind cost wise, but the skills they have, the ability they have, is very, very good. The same for the armors right here. They have for the art of physicals, and the art of physicals or art of magicals, whichever one you're going for, are some of the best defensive skills in the game. Not because of the ability power damage they take away, not because of the ability power damage they reduce, the ability power of the damage they reduce. Damage downs, double XLs are the best, all hands down for that. But on top of it, they do reduce a bit of damage, but they fill Unison Gauge by 5 each time this happens. And like I talked about the weapons, it's just very handy, it's very helpful, and they don't have bad proc rates either, especially if you attach them in your main slot and you have like the opening armors or weapons that give like boosted, especially, let me show you, I think I have some right here. I got the gun right here. Elevation, first 30 seconds of start battle increases the activation chance for skills and gear equipped to your character's main slots by 20%. I got it to level 5, so it's gonna be by 20% because of the level up effect. So if you, especially like Coliseums and duel rooms, if you have stuff like that and you throw like these art ofs in your main slot, you're going to be getting a lot of Unison. You're going to be getting an extreme amount of Unison. You can Unison right away, do all types of damage, have the advantage over the team, and all types of stuff. So that's why I'm saying these are very, very helpful. If you ever watch people in Coliseum or guild battles get quick Unison, having armors that have like the art of skills, or the art of skills that help increase Unison Gauge, whether it's the 35 set, 35, 36 set, or this set right here, is the reason why. So these are definitely going to come in handy, whether you're free to play or pay to win, unless you have the max infused or you have better ones already. If you have a straight ton, like a straight crop ton of 35s already, and you're in 36s and you're set on that, these for sure are going to come in handy no matter your gear score at this very moment, current time and scenario in Unison League. Okay, so moving on from there, this is probably going to be the most useless treasures box, and unless you're like brand spanking new to this game and need a monster, it's not going to really help out as much. These monsters do have good abilities, a decent buff, a decent attack stat buff. Let me rephrase myself, because it could be attack, it could be magical attack, or it could be straight defenses. So they give decent stat buffs, they increase cost recovery speed and Unison Gauge gains, and that right there is a really nice rotation if you're looking to actually do Unison a lot. And of course you got cost recovery speed, so you're going to be getting more cost back than you usually do. So that's why I'm saying these can come in handy for sure if you're brand spanking new, or perhaps you don't really have good monsters with good abilities. These can help as well. But other than that, I wouldn't really go for these because they're going to be outdated cost wise for sure, like extremely. So that means they're not going to be helpful for guild battles whatsoever, for battle score. And there's so many other monsters out there that give a significant amount of gear score and everything surrounding it and everything with that situation. So that's pretty much my intake on those and everything surrounding it. Unless you're brand spanking new or you just don't have monsters with good abilities, I wouldn't really worry about those. And then they got another treasure box right here. These are going to be more for the newer players. The reason I'm saying that is because Kumba here has a set that does this and recovers 5 cost on top of like everything, and it's going to be 35. I think it's 35. Yeah, it's 35 cost. It's a 35 cost set, so it's going to give a significant more amount of stats. So, and these like these skills right here, you may be a bit confused if they just give cooldown ability for like all your abilities. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. These have to proc. These are also proc rate orientated. So once they proc rate, that ability that you use will get that cooldown, but they have to proc before you get that cooldown for sure. They're not something you just add and bam, right away all your abilities have a 20% cooldown. That'd be extremely OP. That would be extremely awesome, and I would tell you it's worth it if that was the case. But these are proc rate orientated, and because of that, they already have the set that does this plus better, plus it's gonna have better stats. So I can't really tell you these are going to be like the best things to grab anymore, because that's not the case scenario or situation anymore with the Stellar God weapons and armors and surrounding stuff. Well, not the armors are a different story, but the Stellar God weapons more towards newer players. So anyways, moving on from there, let's actually get to the last treasure box. This one's also going to be extremely helpful. So 4 or 3 if you're set on that. Well, not even. Actually 4 unless you already got like the Warlord you're about to get from the treasure box. Chests that you will be getting are going to be helpful no matter your situation or scenario, unless you already have the stuff already and you're set on it, because no matter what, the stuff that you're going to be getting from here is for sure going to help out. This stuff is extremely long term, no matter how far you are in Unison League. When they first came out, which was probably like a year and a half ago or a year ago, this stuff is still as helpful, ironically. That's the funny thing. The Stellar God armor is the next thing that's going to be extremely helpful. When you're doing guild battles, when you're doing Coliseum or duel rooms, these are going to be for sure helpful. These are the only armors in the game that have this ability. That's why I'm saying these are going to be helpful. They are kind of outdated stat-wise and cost-wise, but other than that, these have significantly good abilities. They're the only ones that have this ability. They have a chance. They don't have a chance. These are defense constant skills, so they're activated throughout the whole battle, and they're guaranteed to reduce damage throughout the whole battle. Massively reduce physical and magical damage taken, constant effect during battle. They actually roughly only give around a 10% damage reduction. So if you have 2 of them, which you can only stack 2 of them, it's 20% damage reduction. And yes, these work for Unisons as well. So these also reduce Unison damage. That's why I'm saying they can come in handy. If you ever seen people actually survive Unison damage, is because they have these on. There's 2 defense constant skills you want to be orientated around when it comes to guild battles. If you are DPS, you want to have reflection reductions, so that way if you run into a barrier where you're attacking the crystal, you're only taking 1 damage back, and if you're only taking 1 damage back, you can continue to attack, you can continue to do damage, you can continue to wreck the crystal's health. If you are frontline though, if you are defensive, or you're defense orientated, you want to work around these defense constant effect skills, because they do reduce attack, they do reduce use of damage, they do reduce all of that, all of it, and it's going to be very helpful under that scenario and situation if you grab them for that reason. So still people to this day use them. You've seen Archasian, I've seen Archasian has used these. The last time we fought Colossus, their team used these. One of my guildmates, she survives Unisons all the time. As long as she casts Kumbahira, she uses these. A lot of people still use these. If you're rocking a defense or frontline orientation, chances are, if they're endgame guild, they will be using these. They usually, almost always, will be using these. So that's my intake on these and everything surrounding it. Okay, so I didn't realize this, but there is a medal right here. You're getting 1 medal each time you spawn. You can only spawn up to 12 times, so keep that in mind. So if you don't get what you want, perhaps say, they do give you a freebie. So if you spawn 10 times, they give you a freebie to choose what you want. So if you're interested, or unless you go for like some of the lower cost stuff, they give you 2 freebies. So that's very, very awesome right there. They can actually get 2 of these freebies if you want. So that's really, really cool. That's really, really, really cool. So if you missed out on something you want, you can actually get it guaranteed. You only get 1 opportunity, you only get 1 shot, but you're actually getting the stuff guaranteed. That is really, really awesome. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching, and I hope this helped out. This is the AzureWrath, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.